Okay. Just smile naturally. Yeah, Charlie, just a completely natural smile. Just like how you would smile in life. Remember, you know each other really well.
Emma and Charlie.
What the fuck was that? Just some drama.
We found love that we're gonna have forever.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for another episode of Luke's Reviews. On today's video, I am going to be discussing the scariest film that could possibly exist for any newly engaged couples that are planning to get married in the not too distant future. Well, this bodes well. This is my review of the drama. Emma and Charlie are madly in love and only a few days out from tying the knot on what is sure to be the most important day of their lives. In prep, and on an evening with friends, the happy couple dare each other to reveal the worst thing they have ever done. But whilst it may have all started as a laugh, upon Emma's revelation, the mood quickly turns, and the couple's relationship is put to the test. For me, the drama is very much a movie I am all for being made. Yes, it has two great central lead performances from Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, and yes, it has quite a twisted and warped sense of humour. But more than all of that, Kristoffer Borgli's screenplay is totally unafraid to explore those dark corners of the human psyche and bring to light some very difficult questions that we as a collective society often turn a blind eye and really just choose not to have. Mostly because a lot of us are going to have some very strong opinions on the matter, and at least I can think I can speak on behalf of a lot of British people, and that we actively avoid confrontation. Which makes sense, given that Charlie, Robert Pattinson's character, is British in an American world. No, I'm obviously not going to divulge Emma's revelation because I think the marketing have done a tremendous job at shielding that. However, I do just want to point out that it isn't a film that hinges on you not knowing the twist. Now, once it's revealed, it did draw some initial chuckles, uncomfortable chuckles, from my screening, but then there was just this prolonged, awkward silence as it kind of sunk in the topic that has been brought to the table and is inevitably going to be discussed for the rest of the film. And what unfolds is a ticking time bomb between Emma and Charlie, whether their relationship can actually survive. Emma kind of just wants to bury it and move on, whereas Charlie becomes fixated on this idea of whether he actually knows Emma or not. Zendaya is brilliant, really navigating a narrow road of maintaining a likability to her character despite the horrors of her past being dredged up, whilst Pattinson is spending these 2 hours in ultimate crash-out mode. His perspective is very much swaying between the fact that he loves Emma and wants to spend the rest of his life with her, whilst also clearly understanding the fact that this is a gigantic moment in Emma's life that she has shared, and it's something that scares him to no end as to whether this is the same person that he fell in love with. The editing helps the drama find a zing too. It's very zippy. We get a lot of flashbacks when a certain moment or event is brought up in discussion, kind of like Family Guy in that it would be a sudden side gag, but it helps keep the film moving at a very engaging pace. Borgli also taps into a unique sense of humor that unconventionally blends very bleak and dark subject matter with an overwhelming, sometimes bordering on cartoonish level of awkwardness. There are a number of sequences in this film that had me wanting to bury my head in my hands purely for the sake of cringe. Now, Alana Haim is in the film. She plays Rachel, Emma's maid of honor and close friend, and I'm at a bit of a crossroads as to how I feel about her performance. As a character, I could not physically stand Rachel. There is an overriding sense of hypocrisy to her character, and it's just her overall attitude towards this overarching situation that annoyed me to no end. But I can't quite work out if that was the intention of Borgli's screenplay. Is Rachel supposed to represent how society have this very extreme response to anything that comes to light that may be an uncomfortable conversation that needs to be had? And so if that is the case, and Rachel is a conduit for that, then I think Haim did a fantastic job. Whereas if the character of Rachel is supposed to represent the idea that there is a spectrum, and that whilst Rachel is positioned at the more extreme end of the spectrum in terms of her reaction to Emma's revelation, and that in some way justifies her response because everyone is going to have this response down the line, then I will say that Haim doesn't really succeed in that because I unabashedly hated her character. I'm totally undecided at present. I think I'm going to need a rewatch to really cement my opinion on this. I think a lot of people might go into and probably leave the drama finding it a very original, offbeat dramedy about an impending wedding that looks to be heading towards disaster, with great central performances from Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. But I happen to find much more within the drama. I viewed it as a great analogy of these important conversations that are typically never had because of these strong feelings that end up surging to the surface, clouding much of the conversation being had. In the case of what is brought to life in the drama, there are no answers, period, let alone anything considered remotely easy. But it's the sort of film that can spark that conversation. That's what my fiance and I did all of the way home and for the rest of the evening. But we did also agree that we are 100% not playing the game that Emma and Charlie did. We actually want our wedding to go ahead. So I'm going to give the drama an 8 out of 10. Anyway, guys, those were my thoughts on the drama. Let me know, have you had the chance to see the film yet? What did you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And my question to you, what do you think is the best film that you have seen that can start a debate? That a film that you've watched that made you just want to have a conversation about some of the themes and topics that were discussed in it? But this is all the time we have for today. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.